What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another Jad of All Trades video. I just dropped some gameplay on my Division 2 legendary level tank damage build. I call it the Instigator, which you'll see why in that gameplay video. And now we're going to do a build video explaining how you can run this setup yourself. What are the pieces you're going to need? What do you want to look out for? What roles do you want? Let's get into the game and take a look at it. Alright. Now that we're here, I'm going to give you a quick overview of the pieces. You're going to see what's going on, and then we're going to dive into specific items, and you're going to learn what you need to pay attention to for this build. It's not a super complicated build to farm for or put together. Okay, here are the fundamental pillars of the build. We're running the Liberty Pistol. You need the Momento for sure for this build. Very powerful. We're running 4-piece Foundry with the chest. The chest is super strong, and they just got buffed recently with Project Resolve. So you need the chest, and you can farm for that now in open world. Target loot is not a raid exclusive anymore. And then we're running our one high end is a piece of D&H for the pistol damage. We're using the Bulwark Shield with the Artificer. This is essential on a tank build. So we're running Technician, which you need to get the Artificer Hive, and that's what's replenishing our shield. We don't really care about the primary or secondary weapons. You never really use them. Having the EMP grenade is nice. It's a legendary build, so we're going to be fighting White Tusk a lot. Lots of electronics, of course. The EMP is nice. So what's going on here? Okay. The Momento is very important to the build, but the stacks aren't essential. This is not one of those builds where like you need the max Momento stacks for it to really perform. You're going to be very powerful without Momento stacks, which you'll see in the gameplay. A lot of other creators will start with their Momento fully stacked up. I'm showing you guys the build without any Momento stacks. It's still really great, and the stacks will make it even stronger. Specifically, we're going to get, at full stack, 30% weapon damage, which is very nice. We like the bonus armor that we're getting when you pick up the trophy, especially we're going to be very up close and personal. So on kills, we're right there, ready to move around and pick up the trophy right away. A lot of gameplay, you'll be dodging around, rolling into trophies, getting that bonus armor. And the skill efficiency is super important, because that's actually going to make our shield tankier. One of the attributes of skill efficiency is skill health, which is a multiplicative stat that makes your shield much tankier. Right now it's got 14.8 million health, and that's going to go up to, I think, around 18 million when you're at full stack, something like that. I'll need to double check. So with the Momento, typically I don't recommend running builds that have on-kill mechanics for Legendary, because the enemies are really tanky. You don't want to rely on getting the kill. You want more sustainability. With the Momento, there's two ways you can play it. You can either have a very strong DPS build, so you're going to be getting a lot of kills so you can get those trophies, or you go the complete other extreme, right? Not all the way where you're not getting any kills, but with a tanky build, yeah, we're not getting the most kills per stage, but we're not going to down, so we're keeping our long-term buff and building it up stage after stage. And, I mean, ideally you're not supposed to go down. So you keep the stacks, and it's helpful. In terms of the skills, so the Artificer Hive, what you care about here is skill repair. That's really the only thing you care about for the Artificer Hive. How it works is you don't need to deploy it at all. It stays on your back, and then every 10 seconds, exactly every 10 seconds, it'll send out a little drone hive charge, and it's going to go to your shield and repair your shield for this amount. The amount that you read here in skill repair. Okay? You can increase this amount via skill tiers, and also via skill repair rolls. that 30% skill efficiency from the Momento backpack is also going to give us more repair. So it's going to make our shield tankier, have more health, and it's going to make the Artificer repair it more every 10 seconds. There is no way to change how often it sends it out. It's always 10 seconds. And all of these things, we don't care about it. It's just for the tank build, you leave it on your back. Every 10 seconds, you get this amount into your shield, the skill repair. Sometimes it could be a little longer than 10 seconds. And you have to pull your shield in and out sometimes. It takes some time to get to your shield. But that's it. It also doesn't use up charges while it's on your back because it's not deployed. So you have it infinitely. Boundary is giving us total armor, which is really not that powerful, but nice to have. 1% armor regen. We're going to get another 3% at full stack with Momento, so that's 4% armor regen, which honestly, we don't even need because the makeshift repairs 4-piece gear set bonus is so ridiculously strong. And when you're running with the chest, it increases the amount to 35%. So when you take damage to your shield, your 18 million health shield, 35% of that amount is repaired to your shield and you over 10 seconds. So you'll see in that gameplay video, so my armor bar kept going back up almost instantly. Ridiculous regen, because when your very tanky, healthy shield is taking a beating, 35% of that damage is way more than 1.6 million, which is how much armor we're running. And then, of course, we also get shield health from the set. Beautiful, beautiful, very powerful gear set. Amazing for tanks. Okay. Now, let's get into the piece of D&H. I'm opting to not run the Punch Drunk on this build on purpose. You could, you don't need to run the holster as D&H. You could run any other piece other than the backpack and chest as your D&H piece. But you'll see what's going on here is my secondary rolls are crits. So we're at 45% crit chance, 93% crit damage. I could probably convert one of those crit damages into chance. But yeah, we're running crits on the build. Okay? With the Punch Drunk, you're trading off a crit damage opportunity for 20% headshot damage. You could run it like this. Right? It seems like it makes sense. It's a named piece. You're running one piece of D&H. It fits perfectly. There's no issues. The thing is, when you're playing in Legendary, you're going to be fighting a lot of things that don't have a head, that aren't going to take the headshot multiplier. And those things that don't have heads are very, very tanky. We're talking about mini tanks, dogs, chunkies. Don't take headshot damage when you're shooting them and trying to crack their helmet. It's health damage. So I've found you could run either way. It's up to you. It's going to end up being pretty similar. But I've found that, especially as a tank, you want to be drawing aggro and attacking the things that are going to piss your teammates off. Like, you know, chunkies, dogs, mini tanks. Those things are really, really healthy. And I find that I spend much more time fighting those than I do fighting ads that are going to take the headshot damage. So I found it more beneficial to have crits because I spend more time in that situation than to have the extra headshot damage. But that's up to you. The playstyle with the Liberty, and you don't need expertise on it. It performs really well without expertise. I just love running tank. So this is the only gun I think I have 20 expertise on. Maybe my capacitor. Okay. The talent here is pretty nice to have. It's going to give you more pistol damage when you're getting body shots. And then headshots will repair your shield. We already are getting Foundry repairing the shield, plus the Artificer. I never really rely on this, but it's a nice to have because, like I said, the Artificer only procs every 10 seconds. So maybe in between, if you're fighting like 3 chunkies at the same time and they're really wearing your shield down, you can pop a headshot if you have stacks, and it'll give you that little boost to repair your shield to bridge the gap in between Artificer charges. Now, I ran the numbers, okay? Going for headshots when you can means you're not going to build these stacks because the headshot is what consumes the stack that's going to give you up to 60% damage. But even then, going for headshots in a perfect scenario is higher DPS than going for body shots only and keeping the 60% damage boost from the talent. So typically how I play it is it's kind of natural. If I'm fighting ads and I can shoot them in the head, I try to go for the head. Like I said, I don't really rely on the shield repair aspect of the talent because we're already so tanky. And then naturally, when I'm fighting something like a mini tank or whatever, and you can't headshot, you'll end up building the stacks anyway. And that brings me to what I was saying about the crits, is you might fight more ads than things that you can't headshot, but the things you can't headshot are so tanky that you end up spending way more time, way more bullets on them, to where I think it's worth having the crit. And then you'll naturally build up those stacks and you can body shot and go headshot back and forth as you wish. So now let's talk about the balance of blue cores and red cores. You'll see going on here, I even rolled Foundry to red. You could run this all blue if you want to be extra tanky, but we're really relying on the shield. You can't really be tanky in this game outside of using a shield. You're going to get shredded. So our shield is already at tier 6 because of the skill tiers we're getting from Momento, Technician, and then the blues. I found after a lot of testing when I originally made the build that this balance of running 2 reds plus the Momento red is a really, really nice spot to be in terms of tankiness and damage. If you start trading off another blue, you're going to lose your tier 6 shield, which you can't do. And if you add blues, it doesn't make your shield tankier. It gives you a little bit more armor, and you'll get some more bonus armor when you pick up a trophy. But it's really not that useful, I don't think, because you really ought to get better at positioning with the shield. It's really about putting them in front of the shield, letting your bulwark shield take all of the damage, than it is about you being tanky. And our regen is so crazy anyway. We'll get back to full armor. Having an extra blue will let you take like a couple more shots. It's really not worth it over a red, because we're trying to push as much damage as we can in this godly, unkillable tank format. Alright, let's talk some more on variations on this build. I showed you a little bit of running the D&H piece as the Punch Drunk instead of just a regular piece with crits. So this is one thing you can do. The other variation that I could see is if you don't want to run the Liberty pistol, the other one I would recommend is a TDI card named pistol. This one is special because it comes with the skill tier. Super, super useful. That skill tier is gonna, look at that, buff our skill repair. This used to be 33%, now it's at 44%. So that's a nice to have. And the DPS on this pistol is actually quite high. I'm running it with Strained on this setup. I think that's the best damage talent of the ones I tried. You could maybe do Optimist, but because we're running with crit, I recommend Strained, and you'll get the extra skill tier. It'll open up, maybe you want to run a Scorpio as your exotic weapon to have on hand. Could be nice. And then with this as well, you can choose to either go Punch Drunk or a crit D&H piece. Those are really the two things you can trade off. Primary and secondary don't really matter. I recommend having a Banshee with fast hands on hand. It's the best DPS sustained SMG, so great to have. You're going to be putting mag in after mag. We're fighting tanky legendary enemies. Sustained DPS is important, but these don't very seldom use them. You're going to be using your pistol and having your shield out. That's kind of the point of the build. Alright everyone, I hope you enjoyed this build tutorial, and you can create this on your own and get all set up the way you like. That's a big part of the fun in this game, is we share ideas, and you get to customize the build for what you like and how you want to play it. I walked through everything I wanted to show you. Drop a comment below if you like this build or what you want to see next. That's all I got for you today. Enjoy.